this year. I was at a dance at the high school. I go to Heritage. So I was at winter ball, right? And the dance ends at 10:30. And I have a 10:45 curfew. But I talked to my dad before, and I said, hey, is it okay if I go to dinner with my friends after? He said, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. So I leave the dance 10:25, get to the restaurant 10:35, text my dad, hey, I'm here. He said, what? I said, I'm at the restaurant. Apparently, in this whole conversation, I forgot to tell him the dance ends at 10:30. And so I forgot to ask, hey, can I stay out a little longer? And so I said, hey, is it cool if I stay out here? He says, no, get home. I said, oh.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? All right, I guess. And so he told me basically, hey, if you don't want to come home, fine. But the rest of your junior year is going to be like Alcatraz. But if you want to come home, come home. So I said, all right, I got home. To get home. Next morning is Sunday morning. Always catch your dad when he got his Starbucks on a Sunday morning. Good mood, right? I walked up to him, I said, hey, Dad, so I couldn't stay out? Like, what was the deal with that? He goes, no, if you would have asked me, I'd have let you stay out. You would have let me stay out. And he said, yeah, all you had to do was ask. You just never asked. And so I was thinking about this recently, and I didn't realize that I was so stuck on everything he had put before me and everything that was old that I forgot. And I never thought twice that I could push forward a new plan. Now, I'm not saying go home and question every move your parents make and rage against the machine. It's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is oftentimes we find ourselves out at 10:30 and it's 10:45 curfew with our faith. Oftentimes we go see that kid around campus again and we are scared to fight for his salvation alongside him. Why? Because we're afraid to be rejected. We're afraid to fight because we're afraid to lose. And so to begin, I'd like to start with a few questions that we often have as teenagers in the faith. And if you're a new Christian or you haven't fully accepted Christ, I want you to pay special attention to the war that we want you to join with us. These questions are, 1, why do we fight for our faith? What's the point? 2, what does it look like to fight for our faith? I know I'm a visual learner. I know my brother's a visual learner, so that's for him. And so 3, what if I don't feel ready to fight? What if now's not the time? What if I feel like right now is not perfect for me? So the first question is like the anthem of our high school careers. Do I have to? Yes. The short answer, yes. But why? I'm glad you asked. We fight to keep our faith relevant. We live in a world that so happily accepts new trends and is looking for new ones, all the while throwing out the ones of yesterday. Yeah. But when does a trend become a lifestyle? See, Christianity is not the next great trend. It's the basis of revival. It's the truth that we cling to. This very truth that we walk upon, that's where revival stands. See, let's be real. If you don't, who will? It says in Matthew 6:15, go into all the world and preach the gospel to all creation. If you don't, who will?
That's good.
The way I like to think about this is all the world. Maybe we can bring it down. Maybe just all your campus, your whole campus. Maybe it's a classroom over. Maybe it's that one kid that sits alone in the cafeteria. That's just 20 feet. An extra 20 feet out of your way, you can get up and you can walk and you say, hey, how are you? Preach the gospel to all the nation, not just your friends, not the people that have already heard it, but the ones that are hard to reach. Second, we fight to acknowledge the war that's going on around us. You see, we're born into this war between heaven and hell, between sin and light, between darkness and life. But we have the choice to take part in that fight. See, I'm a movie buff. That's another thing you got to know about me. I really love movies. I watch a lot of movies. My Netflix hours, solid. I'm locked. So for me, I love this movie called The Usual Suspects. I don't know if anybody in here's seen it. But there's one point in the movie where one of the protagonists, Verbal Kint, he goes on to say, the greatest trick the devil ever played on mankind was convincing him that he wasn't real. The greatest trick the devil ever played on mankind was convincing him that he wasn't real. So often we're okay with, it's just a slump, I'll get out of it. We're so okay with, oh, it's just one of those days, that's just why. And we forget to acknowledge the fact that there is an enemy. But luckily for us, along with our enemy, our God is very real.
It's good, B.
You see, we were birthed in this war, but we choose to fight in it. You know, if you don't know anything about your enemy, that'd be like a military force without any intel on their enemy. You don't go into a battle blind. Just ask General MacArthur or McCuster. See, why? because failing to plan is planning to fail. We acknowledge the fight, and not only that, we choose to fight in it. It says in John 10:10, "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come so they may have life and have it abundantly." See, I don't know about you, but do you want to be on the side that steals, kills, and destroys, or that gives life, or receives life? We have the opportunity to choose. We become so complacent with the acknowledgement, and we refuse to pick a side and become active in the fight.
That's good.
This next question is for my visual learners, like myself. This is what it looks like to fight for your faith. Because what does it look like? Right? I think the prime example of a fighter in any context is Paul. Before he met Jesus, he fought against Christians with all that he had. He was Saul. He conquered Christian nations. Why? Because he didn't stand for it. But once he had the privilege of encountering God, he said, you know what? This isn't so bad. And he fought for God. Moving from prison to persecution, willing to push forward the gospel. Why? Because he chose to fight.
That's good.
You see, in one of my favorite verses out there, it's 1 Corinthians 9:26. Paul states, "I do not run aimlessly. I do not simply fight the air." This means you go hard. That's what that means. When you walk in and you're just punching the air, what are you doing? You're getting nothing done.
Right.
He says, you know what? Make it intentional. Make contact. Be obvious about it. Choose to fight this fight. Just know when you're a kid, you got put on timeout, and you kind of just sit in the corner and sulk. Paul got put on a big timeout. He was sentenced to prison. He wrote 4 of his 13 books from prison. 4 books encouraging the church to grow from prison.
That's good.
And we're worried about sitting in the corner, huh? You see, Paul was in prison and still had the motivation to fight the good fight. If Paul could encourage the church to keep growing while he was inside, moving from prison to persecution, I'm sure we can do the same. The final question I'd like to address, and the most common, is the most discouraging when we're fighting this great war. What if I don't feel ready? What if now's not the time? Because I know so many of us struggle. We get up in the morning and we say, God, where am I supposed to be today? I don't know. What are your plans for me? When I get up in the morning, what should I choose? I don't even know what to have for breakfast. How am I supposed to know what my calling is? But before you ask yourself if you are ready, I want you to think about the disciples. Were they ready? You see, as you look through the word, you'll find that our idea of theologically qualified is made up. It's a secular perspective, meaning it's from the world.
That's good. We
made it up and said, hey, that's good. That's all it can be. We put a limit on it. We put God in this little box and we said, okay, he's going to prepare us like this. But that's wrong. What qualifies 4 fishermen to conduct miracles? What qualifies a tax collector to facilitate blessings? Better yet, what qualifies a thief to kiss Jesus on the cheek?
Come on.
You see, the more you look, the more you see. Jesus does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called.
That's good.
Jesus did not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. See, the Bible is not a rule book. It's a call to action. It's a challenge. It's an epic love story. And you're the one that brings the pages to life. You are called. You are called. You are called. And that's the only qualification you are ever going to need.
Yeah.
This book is what we cling to. It's what you hold to. We say, God, you're right, but not this section. No, you take it all.
Yeah.
And know that you are called, but you don't need somebody else to say, that's good enough. You're good enough. You can do this. You're already qualified. You're already qualified to go and make disciples of the nations. You're already qualified to go and preach the gospel to everybody. To look at things in a different perspective, where are my athletes? Anybody that's trained for anything. You don't even have to be an athlete. Have you trained for something? All right. Who's basketball players? Soccer players? Baseball? Volleyball? So, no matter what sport you play, it's a fact of life that you have to stretch.
Right.
Have to. Or else you pull a hammy. It's not good. So I remember when I was a kid, I was 8, and might have been 9, and I was going to my first Raider game with my dad, the Raiders, and We pull up to the Coliseum. We get inside. I'm so excited. My dad had to take out an FAA loan to get me to this game. I was like, I want this. We got a new jersey before the game. Got a new hat before the game. I was cool. I was good. And so I'm walking in. I'm ready to watch them warm up. I'm ready to watch guys start hitting each other, running routes, catching balls. We show up a little early. By my dad's standards, about 2-3 hours. So we get inside the stadium, and I'm excited. I'm like, all right, football time. I get inside, and I'm watching these guys, and they're stretching for an hour. No routes were run. No balls were caught. Not even a run-through for an hour. You want me, an 8-year-old kid, to sit here and just watch you guys stretch, and I can't talk to you because you're getting in the zone. What do you mean? See, I was so eager to see them play and so eager to watch them compete that I didn't realize you have to stretch before you compete. See, the same thing happens. You have to stretch before you prepare for battle. As a professional, they don't have to stretch to be the greatest. But see, you and I, we aren't professionals. Jesus was the only professional to walk this earth, and we have to stretch. Why? Because we want to reach that standard.
It's good.
See, the opportunity to be the greatest, where does it come? To be the GOAT, greatest of all time. Michael Jordan. If you say LeBron James, door.
What are you
but
mean?
Man, right in the front too. That we were cool. But the opportunity to be the greatest, it presents itself in all forms of life. Whether it's academics, sports, at home, being the best son you can be, being the best daughter you can be, for my parents in the back, being the best mom and dad you can be.
Yeah.
It always presents itself. But there was only one set of feet to walk this earth that was truly perfect, truly the greatest.
Yeah.
Therefore, our job as Christians is to follow those footsteps and to follow that perfect template. It's to stretch and prepare ourselves to fight the same fight and never to give up hope from prison to persecution. We always have the opportunity to fit in and be comfortable. But why be average when you're anointed?
Yeah.
Why be complacent when you've always been called?
It's good.
Why be C+? Why be average when you're anointed? You're blessed. Why be complacent? Why be comfortable when you have the opportunity to stretch and move and push forward the gospel?
It's good, B.
I know Jared says this every week. Every week. Last week, the week before. But don't leave this week the same as you came in.
Yeah.
Leave different. Leave changed. See, as Christians, we choose to fight. We must also make the choice to prepare for that fight. But what does your preparation look like? What does it look like? Maybe you have to stretch a little more. Maybe you have to put on the armor of God. See, when you get up in the morning and you decide to wield the sword of truth, that doesn't mean you have to get up and go to fencing practice. It means you get up a little earlier, you read that extra devotional.
Yeah.
Maybe you go to bed a little later, read that extra verse. What you get it on your phone. You got the Bible app. It's perfect. It wakes you up with the verse. That's fine.
It's good.
But you have to train to use the sword. And when you're lacing up your shoes, when you're lacing those up,
Fly guy.
you're putting on the sandals of righteousness. In the morning when you wake up, you choose God. And when you put on those sandals, you say, you know what, God? I'm going to let your word carry me through today. I'm going to let you sustain me today. I'm going to let you carry me today. Why? Because it's pleasing to him and because he said so. When you prepare yourself to become anointed and you're willing to become qualified, only then are you fully equipped to fight the good fight. Why be complacent when you've always been called? Why be average when you've always been anointed? Why be okay with the 75? When was 75 ever as good as 100?
Come on.
Why be on the sideline when you could be playing in the game? Why be second place? Who be first? Look, I know winning's not supposed to be everything. Come on. In this, we win this fight. Why? Because we chose to.
Yeah.
Because we were born to. We were formed to. We were anointed to fight this good fight. And you were called. If you woke up this morning and you said, hey, God, I don't know where I am. I know all the time I wake up and I say, God, where am I supposed to be today? Who am I supposed to talk to? I don't know what I have. show me a sign. Here's your sign. You're called. You're anointed.
That's good.
Let it be known that before you were even born, when you were being formed in your mother's womb, God said, that's good. God said, she is good enough. God said, he is good enough.
Yeah.
God created everything and said, you know what? That looks like me. Perfect. Let it be known that you are not average. You're anointed.
Yeah.
Don't be complacent. You've always been called.
That's good.
Let's pray. Father God.